Okay, sorry about that. I just forgot to press the go live button. I'm still getting fairly used to. I'm fairly new to this kind of stuff. So, okay, so here we go. Um, what? Hmm, let me try to find the link. Yeah. How is everybody doing? We're supposed to have like a guest here today. If so, if anybody wants to come on in, I should say when Cor- Cor- Carola Werth, um, the uh, the stream the link to the stream is in the comments section. It is in the chat. I'll wait for like 10, 15 minutes. And if hello, hello. So um if anyone wants, especially if Carol, if you're in here, Carola, not Carol, Carola Worth, if you are in the chat, jump on in and we because I see we have an audience member here. Or so if someone wants to jump in the chat, someone else needs to, then come on in and yeah. I sincerely apologize for this delay, everyone. But in the meantime, we can just hang out. Hope everybody's doing all well. Leave in the comment section or chat. Okay. I sincerely apologize for the wait. Okay, there she is. All right, here we go. All right, we're live again. It's how are you? We have on
Carola.
Carola. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you? Yeah.
I'm doing well. I apologize for the delayed reaction. It's because there's a delayed feedback on my behalf.
It's okay. It's 3 a.m. here, so I got up. Yay! It's awesome. Anyway, what would you like to talk about?
You could you have the floor, and we can cover cover whatever you like.
How about we talk about how people need to get into the knowing of moving on with where we're at. I feel a lot of people are really stuck. I'm in Australia, so I'm in Queensland. So we do have a lot of spiritual places here in Queensland, and it's very ancient land as well. And there's a big shift even here in Australia, but we have a lot of politics that hold us back as well. So, but land-wise, is we even have pyramids and things like that. People don't even realise how ancient Australia really is. I'm actually German. I was actually born in Germany, and I came here when I was 12, and have been here ever since. So it's been pretty beautiful. So a little bit about myself. I'm a psychic. I'm a medium. I do remote viewing. I do soul unhooking, which is one of my favourite things. So soul unhooking is when you do work on a soul level and you call in the souls that you had lifetimes with, and or even in this lifetime, and you unhook everything that is stuck within you, the lessons and everything, and you want to move on from it, and you unhook both of like your soul and their soul, and then you move on. And I use a violet flame to do it. I just done a YouTube video a little bit on it. I was shown this through Archangel Michael one day when I was sitting outside a few years back when I still lived on the Gold Coast. I've been in Harvey Bay since about 2016, and I've been drawing my oracle deck ever since, trying to really get it out there. So this year I'm actually releasing it. So just to show some of it. So it's something like, this is like letting go, and it's very out there sort of kind of stuff, and it has light language
fantastic.
in it, vortexes, healing modules and things like that. That's what I do. And it's really beautiful actually, that seeing someone heal, I think, and getting their knowing back, because everything is about your intuition, and your knowing is about you knowing where your soul is at, what journey you're taking. It's not believing in something. It's always about the knowing. Once you know you got it, when we believe we're still believing in it, but once you feel it inside your heart and you have that knowing, that's when your soul, your essence of yourself grows. What's your view on that?
On on my view on what exactly soul growth.
Yeah,
I do believe that soul growth is, believe it or not, I soul growth does go evolve through pain and suffering. I think I expressed that in one of my videos,
yeah,
how it's just like working out, and you have to, like, in order for you to know the value of the light, you need to know the nuances of the darkness, and how and people trying to become very enlightened just are always throwing out the light. But we need to understand that when all you put out is light and there's no contrast, then it can actually blind you. You need it. I'm not saying that we shouldn't I'm not saying that we shouldn't have light or anything like that, but we need those a little bit of a nuance to
yeah.
appreciate. Not
With
and
with with the darker side of things, or I'll call it the shadow, basically.
Yes,
I feel
exactly.
that it is here to teach us how to evolve. Actually, it's to really allow you to feel who you are.
Well,
Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yes, exactly. That's why
Yeah.
I refer Earth as a school planet. Because what do you
Yeah.
do when you're in school? You're there are teachers, there are students, but it's also you're figuring yourself out and you're growing all the
Hmm.
time. You make mistakes and you have your successes. It's very much and not everybody is on the same vibrational length, and that's by design.
Oh,
It's
totally.
it's uh it's because we have our teachers and we have our students, and sometimes the students outsmart the teachers every now and then. Like, I mean, but the whole point is exactly what you're saying, and it's not pleasant. School, especially when you're at a young age, it's and you're a young, and especially if you're a young soul, it is not pleasant at all.
Oh, it's not, because it's very harsh. I remember when I was younger, because I'm a lot older and I've done this for such a long time. I've always seen spirits. So I just turned 62. So I've always seen spirits since I was a young child. And to me, it was this natural. I always thought that everyone would see it, but obviously they don't. I guess I was always tuned in, but a lot of trauma always happens in their life as well that wakes you up to see as well. And I, to me, it's just a natural thing to see, like do mediumship and allow, when I do readings, is to allow that energy to come through. When I work in the higher dimensions, is because you have to hold that energy to really connect to the higher dimension. Because I work a lot with the Palladians and Argenturians, and I get a lot of my artwork from there, and a lot of my friends, like they even draw my guides for me. She passed on now, but she was such a beautiful artist. I've learned so much from everyone that's come through my life, whether that was good or bad. It is actually a learning lesson. It's what you take out of it. See, I don't judge the lessons anymore. I look at them and think, wow, I learned that much. How not to be that kind of person anymore, how to be kinder, how to be nicer. Um, it's quite interesting. So because I look at our young generation, and a lot of them are really struggling because they have no guidance of how to deal with a lot of things anymore, because everything is on computers, and we're not grounding outside anymore. Where when I was young, outside was our world. now inside is their world on their devices, you know.
Well, it's not just that. I would say we are being not just we, but the youth is being exposed to a lot of stuff that's just contradictory and is just like, I wouldn't say is outright fake, but it's very, very confusing. Like they are trying to, because as of late we are discovering on what's really going on here with how should I say, a lot of the people who are supposed to be more masculine are becoming more feminine, and the women who are the people who are supposed to be very feminine are becoming more masculine. So it's there's this huge which I want to say the DS, if you know what the initial for that is that this is all by design to make sure that this is all population control, not just for population of not just for control of mind, but for the amount of people as well. And one of the things is that I'm starting to realize that they do not want people to reproduce anymore. They are trying anything and everything they can to destroy humanity, and doing anything and everything they can to just have obedience. But
Yes.
and here's the thing. That's why they need these that's why they're saying politics such as communism and socialism is good. The government is the truth, and the AI stuff is because it has nothing to do with the goodwill of the people. It has everything to do with obedience. And when you tell, and I said to this to people, if you need everybody to be 100% obedient, I'm sorry, but your formula and your way and your politics are they just don't work, because it's all about nuance. It's all about making sure everybody is evolving and keeps evolving. However, if you need to bring down people in expense for someone else, or just bring down people so that way they can make you feel like they can keep you in power and dependent on you, that dependency, then you know what, I mean, I have a huge feeling that the DS, they absolutely know what we're capable of. Hence why they're afraid of 45.
And they are afraid of it because we can, especially when you remote view and actually see what they're actually planning, and even that they have their screens up about us remote viewing into something, is sometimes when you get through into the remote viewing and you actually really look at their plans and things like that, it's really mind-blowing actually. I couple months ago we did some remote viewing. I run classes here, okay, so
oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so on a Monday night we have classes here and I teach them remote viewing, and then we choose a place where we're going to go in and remote view. So we put a lot of protection around this, because you don't want to be always seen where you're going to remote view. And so you go actually into these darker places and check out what they're actually doing, and it's not very nice actually what they're doing, and it is all about control, and because they are actually afraid of us stepping back into our whole knowing of, because of the psych, the hearing, is because we're so powerful, is this they've tried to strip us from it, because not into believing, always looking outside of yourself when you're knowing actually is inside of yourself. And because that's why they made communion, you go, go shopping, do this, do that. Everything is outside of yourself. Take this medicine, do that. That will heal you. This will do. But no one wants to do the work inside, and they know once, because people are awakening now, and they're all lining up to do this awakening, and they don't know how to control. Once it's like a domino effect, and it's going to happen. 2023 is the biggest wake up to stand in getting your psyche back and your power. Like, a lot of people are really waking up for it. We're in one of the greatest unfolding years, even if it's really frustrating and people think, oh, they can't cope with all this crap that the government's throwing out, and politics, like the politics here in Australia. My golly, gee, I just go, what the,
No,
like,
I have family in Australia.
do you?
Yeah, I do.
Where?
I forget exactly where. I wouldn't say. I want to say Sydney, but I don't think it. I don't think it is.
And so Sydney's very big, and it's called New South Wales, which is our next. Like, I'm about,
I don't know.
8 hours away from New South
It might
Wales.
be. I don't know exactly where they are, but no, I don't. I have family history in Australia. I've just never been there.
Oh, if you ever get a chance, you should. It is such a beautiful place to travel. I live more in a country. I live in the Hervey Bay, which is, you have a really big esplanade. Oh, nice. What time is it over there?
It's 10:32 in the morning.
Oh, that's not too bad. I don't start work till lunchtime today, so I'm very lucky. I'm just changing jobs. I got promoted to a different place.
Oh,
so I'm going to run. Yeah, it's been awesome. Yeah. You read cards, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your? See, I have my favorite decks. Like, I've got a collection here of cards. I collect tarot cards. I've got a lot of oracle decks, but I've got really old cards as well. So I've been collecting them for many, many years. Some decks are worth a lot of money. So I've been collecting them. But the joy that when you read, because I can tune in and do readings, but I always believe people love having a picture in front of them, because we're very visual people and do readings. But I found this beautiful deck. I only just bought it. It's called the Lonely Soul. And it's a really interesting deck, because I do a lot of shadow work with people to heal a lot of parts of them so they can grow. And on my Monday night groups, we do that as well. And we make a lot of oils here, because I do aromatherapy as well. We do a lot of healing stuff. I use a lot of copper. I've got a friend who makes a lot of copper stuff. So you can put this here. If I have a backache, I put it on my back, and it sort of draws the pain out. So there's really beautiful tools. I got this one here. It's like a vortex energy.
Oh, great.
So you just put it around your neck, and you can, when you put your finger through it, it's a really strong energy. So my friend who makes them, he's here in Hervey Bay, and he only makes this one. He only make one off. I got a bracelet like that, so I ended up. Oh yeah, he knew I was going to buy it. We go, oh yeah, I love it. It's cool. And then I use there's so many different things. We have to protect ourselves from the internet energy it throws out. So this what this does as well. So I got that all over my house to get rid of the dirty electricity. They put a lot of smart boxes here in Australia, and they're not very healthy. They make people very sick because they throw so much dirty electricity out.
I honestly think that that's by design, and because I've also heard, not just heard, but I've been seeing my auntie who lives there saying that there are like military helicopters or military people to keep the curfew. And I also and I also say that there were like camps that they're setting up if you were not,
Yeah.
if you didn't
They
take.
did that here in Brisbane, and they never opened. So they just about 4 hours away. They built a really big camp, but it never opened. So I'm not sure what they're going to use it for, because it's very it's just sitting there dormant in the moment. So over here in Queensland alone, if you work in the medical system and you don't have that, you can't work in it. Basically, here in Queensland, it's easing up in other places. I actually got stood down from work because I just said no. So I think I was off. Took a 6 months holiday. Basically, it was really really awesome. Not to work actually, but it hurt a lot of people. Like it was really really awful here because like when you looked at Victoria and all that, and even here where the lady, she went out for coffee and someone rung up that she wasn't, and then they just put her in the paddy bag and took her away, and it took about 4 policemen, Yet we have such a big crime rate everywhere, and there's they're not even controlling that. They were controlling poor old ladies and threw them in the back of a paddy bag here sometimes, Yeah, it was pretty
sad.
full on here in Australia. Like, it was really sad actually. So a lot of people have only just starting to come out of their shell again because of all the trauma it's caused. So yeah, and they shut a lot of businesses down for like 3 months because we had a big close down here. So they closed like for 3 months they closed the businesses, then they reopened with all these rules, and they had crosses everywhere where you let us stand, and then they brought in the face things, which I never wore. If I wanted to breathe in my own stuff, I would have, we would have been born with it, but I sort of rebelled against it a little bit, and then you just come and do your own stuff basically. But a lot of people didn't have a choice really because they got families to feed. So you were really caught up in this here in Australia, and it was very, very bad. Like we have some on YouTube, we have the back channels of the media who talks about it a lot, because there's a lot of court cases going on here in Australia, and they're all winning and they're all getting dropped. And in Canberra, they actually use this sonar machine that people, it hurt their throat and they got blisters around their mouth. They actually used it on the people. So because they were protesting. So it was for a few years, it was pretty bad. In the moment, it's pretty cruisy again. People are just doing their own thing. I think a lot of people lost their trust in the government and in the police, which is really sad. But you can't trust, everyone knows that they're not being true to. We got a few government here that they do put really good shows on and show everything of the truth, but we still have the majority that don't, because they always talk about a red pill and a blue pill. I don't believe in either. I think they all work together because it's all a corporation anyway. So Australia became a corporation a while back, and it's called Marici. No, I know, I can't remember the full name, but it's a corporation. So everything that the government has is actually a corporation. So you know that someone else is pulling the strings anyway. So they all got ABNs, because over here you need an ABN to work in the business. So you can really see that it's all, and then you have your puppet. I'll call them the little puppets, and you've got your puppet masters who pull the strings on it. So it's quite interesting, but we're a little bit freer now here in Australia. It's lucky I think Canada is the hardest hit still. like of what I hear of. I have a friend living in Canada. She sends me messages a lot, and she goes that it's pretty bad over there. So yeah, it's quite
There is
interesting
a
when you look around the world, what's actually going on. I got a family in Germany still, and because of the past in Germany, a lot of people just obey there because of what happened long ago. So yeah,
there
um,
is a common denominator in all those countries besides Germany, and that is the crown. And we do know about that, the crown, especially the queen. There is an image of her siding with the socialist party, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
and doing that sort of salute. So I honestly believe that this is part of that agenda, because I know that word has been thrown around so loosely, and they've portrayed P45 of being such a thing, and it's like, no, if anything, he's that to you, but bad guys are bad guys to the bad guys, basically. And they needed a lot of people to be very content, hence why they're saying that the government is your friend. You need to trust what we say and what we do, and because what we do is true truthful and nothing else. It's like, but that might work. That actually might work on some people, but in the United States, we do have the Constitution to keep all that stuff in check. And does Australia have anything like that? Do they have something where they keep the government in check?
Over here is we used to have different parties and they squashed them all. So you basically over here you got Labor and a Liberal Party, you've got a National Party and Greens, right? So the last election, I don't know, I always felt in my heart that the election is they teach people to go into these positions, right? Because I believe many years ago there's this show called The Family, right? It's on Netflix actually, and this journalist went into this house and he wrote a lot of books about it, and it's been going for over 80 years. And they used to have a breakfast. They called it a religious breakfast, but they really brought in how the mafia and a certain other person that was involved in the war many years ago in Germany, how they actually worked together, and they brought this breakfast in, and they wanted to bring that into humanity, and you can see it everywhere now. And then when you have a look at all the Commonwealth countries that they rule by the Commonwealth, is because we're a Commonwealth country, but we're also there's only two sovereign countries left in the world. One is Australia and one is Russia, actually. Would you believe it? But Russia banned a lot of the food that, they, I've got a blanket, that they control, like they don't want in their, he doesn't want it in the country because it's poisonous. So because they look after the soil there, but here, they're putting soy flour and everything. It's all, your body can't digest a lot of food what they do. But with the Commonwealth countries, they're all owned by the Crown. And when you have a look at history, how much they go into countries and they just strip the countries of their wealth, and then. Like if you go into like India, they took all the teas from there. If you go into, like, we have a lot of gold here in Australia, so, and some gold got sent to England and it got melted down without the permission and all that stuff. And anything on your land now they're trying to bring in this rule under 5 centimeters is you need permission to grow even trees. And to me, that is really total control of a lot of things. So if you find any metal or any valuable stuff in your ground, if you own that land, it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the government. And here in the moment is they're even trying to throw people off their land and stuff like that. So our first people, I feel will end up taking back a lot of this stuff because we were, look, there's a lot of cool freedom groups here that we're working with, and they even go what the is, and they need their land so they can rebuild themselves because they know when the fire comes, they know how to work the land. They just have that inner knowledge of Mother Earth. But we're being in the Commonwealth there was a legislation written is that they just can take anything back when they feel like it. And it's really harsh, really, when you really look at what's going on. But I think everything's going to turn eventually. And when you change, when you work with frequency and the energy of the earth, and the earth energy is changing because you can feel it. It's rising higher and higher, and it is all about frequency and energy, and even the energy that we hold is. I work really high in very high energies because I learned over the years how to work with it and hold it, which is really lovely. But not everyone can do that yet. They have a journey to go because they don't realize that everything is frequency and energy and numbers and that's just how the universe works. We got a false matrix. I actually draw the matrix as if you can get past the older matrix and go through it into the spirit more higher matrix. It's quite beautiful, beautiful energy above us, because it looks like a spider web. It's just weaved and then with their frequency, since the radio, I believe, came in because it sent out frequencies. If you have a look in the 1800s in the workplaces, they actually had machines under their workplaces and send out the frequencies to the workers so they would perform their jobs. The control was already there to how to use frequency. So it's not like the technology is so ancient. If you really look at it, it's quite interesting. I watch a lot of Tartarian shows. We here in Australia, we got some beautiful ones. Sometimes they get taken off because they're so on the mark, right? So because of all the, we got a lot of. If I post something, like I had a lot of posts removed sometimes because someone says something about the internet and all this kind of stuff. They remove the posts really quick, and I've been barred many times, so I've got to be careful sometimes what I say. Not on my YouTube, more on Facebook, is because you post things, and sometimes I posted it about a year ago, and they still pull you up from it from a year ago, and think I don't even remember posting that. It must be long ago. So it's quite restricted in other things. They just don't want you to know how psychic and how that you have all that within you. So they do attack that a lot and watch it. Yeah. So it's quite interesting actually. When you go into all those spiritual things, I drew this not long ago. This is like rebirthing our energy this way. And then you've got the vortex there, and it cleanses, and the golden energy to the central sun and things like that, with what we can pull in and work with. But I think a lot of people in the moment is in this stuck stage of, because they don't know what to believe. They just don't
Do you think
because that's the energy they're sending out.
Do you think that they know what to
it's quite interesting. So, but there's beautiful energy things we can do to ourselves is really protect yourself from all these networks. Like that's why I wear copper, because it's the biggest protection. If you look back in ancient time, they used copper for everything. Like even under the pipes and stuff like that, they were copper pipes, you know. And when you have a look in history, is the copper was a very big tool there that they used for, and you know, in the old days they actually did a lot of things for that. When you have a look in the Tartarian, is when the buildings were built. See, I reckon Australia's a lot older than they say they are, because I always believe when all the buildings, we had a lot of old buildings here, and some of them actually sunk. You can see that, especially when you go into South Australia, Adelaide and Sydney, and you know, in the bigger cities, because these buildings are huge. We didn't have the population to build them. They were there, you know. Yet you're trying to tell us there's such a person build them and such a build. There was not enough people to build them at that time, because something happened and it wiped everyone out. And then you had all the children on the train that came, the orphan trains, and then all of a sudden people got reset all over the place. Where were their parents and stuff like that, you know? When you have a look at it really more deeply, you go, wow, like it's really mind-blowing. And I believe a lot of the buildings were built, like they've got 1800s here. I reckon they were built long, long before that. And I believe, because we have a lot of grits here in Australia, that our electricity used to be free as well, because they had electricity grits up on all the big buildings. And I believe all the windows, how they were beautiful built, they were actually didn't have glass in them. I think they used to send out frequency, healing frequencies for you know, for the people that once was in those times. Like, it's so interesting. And that's where we're going back to, the frequencies, understanding the frequency. I've got a lot of singing bowls here, tuning forks, gongs. I work a lot with frequency, and it's so beautiful. Once you even play the instrument, you can see the change of energy. So yeah, it's all like us staying really attuned in our frequencies and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really interesting going back into all that. Is anyway, I was going to ask you, what's your favorite tarot deck?
Oh, my favorite, I guess it's made in Canada. It's limited and various. It's the Star Child Tarot.
Oh yeah, I've got. That's cool. I actually got. This is funny. This one of my favorite rereaders. It's called the. It's got dragons, little dragons on the back, but in the front, I always read with them. I really love
great.
it. Because I got so many decks, but you know how you always pick your favorite. There's a modern deck by her it's hang on, I'll just get it out. It's called the so this comes in 2 decks. It's the Book of Shadows. What's up below is above. And this is a really modern deck. So when I do more modern readings, I use that. It's quite interesting, actually. And I have really old decks I read with sometimes. There's a new one out. It's like this one. It's called the.
So I want to.
The Mystic Martians.
I want to ask you, and a lot of people want to talk about. I don't want to do a sellout topic, but I mean, like, what is your knowledge of like the new Earth, and what do you think is going to happen? Because I do understand that there are a lot of people who preach about this. I honestly think they have various definitions and how things are gonna be. But what is your definition, and what's your perspective in all of this?
So when I listen to other people, they always call this, there's a separation of this and separation. I think the new earth, it's about the new energies coming through, and it is a high perspective of your higher self, like working, because we have different timelines, and so the more you ascend into the newer timelines, or I feel, see, a lot of people talk about that there's going to be a separation. The people with the lower energy stay on their journey in the high, and the people who ascend will go higher. But all this, because you become a light body and a knowing, right? But I feel most people are where they're meant to be, and they're growing space with it. The new earth, to me, when I look into the future, it's actually a very peaceful earth. It's bringing peace back and harmony and the frequency. So, and that is enough for everyone, like it once was when you go back into it. But because there's lower energies as well, it's the same when people pass over and go into the other realms. Is, if you were a really dark worker, you're not going to go where the light to your cleansing, because I believe there's healing rooms, and the people that did all the dark stuff, they have to stay in that energy, and it sometimes takes thousands of years because they have to become back into the light. But so they created this belief system of a heaven and hell, but it's not. I believe it's you have your dark rooms where they can't even comprehend the light. So it's going to take thousands of years for them actually to come back to the light. I think that's where some people will be held in, and especially when they pass over. And when you pass over of an illness, is you go into healing rooms until you actually get your vibration back to the source vibration, because you're a light being, you're doing a human experience, so you have to get your energy of your soul back into the light, and it takes time. It's like if someone passes from cancer, there's beautiful healing rooms up there where they go into and they heal. And I feel here on earth there's a lot of things like that. It's like a big cleansing of your soul, where you enlighten yourself. And the people, like when you talk about mastering your inner self, it's a knowing. I see some people think the earth is going to separate and there's two earths. We already got two earths in this universe, and one's very light already. Do you know what I mean? But it's hard. Like I feel that
I've heard of it, but I'm not the most well versed. So even for the ones who are not the most well versed, what would you like to please elaborate on that?
I feel that a lot of people see. There's a lot of scaremongering around this as well. There's people that will stay where they are because they don't know how to evolve. Like you were talking about new souls and the stuckness, is they have to do it in their own time. And a lot of people are afraid that they won't see their family anymore and stuff like that. I don't feel it is like that. I feel everyone ascends, but the lighter you come, the less you see the negativity. You will see it, but you won't get involved in it, and then you move, because the earth is going to enlighten no matter what. It's changing her frequency. She has to, because she can't control this darkness anymore. So, and it's up, and I don't feel that we can remote view into it, but the future still changes. And it's actually up to us how high we want to ascend, and where and how, you know, it is actually a journey. And like in my lifetime, how much will I see of it? I really don't. I just work on myself until I ascend. And I think when you go back to the other side of the world, into the other dimensions, because a lot of dimension are very high dimensions, is you don't need to talk because it's all frequency. You know, it's very psychic, and you know, it's just there. They're knowing, and I think this is where this earth is going, no matter what. It might take 10 years. It might say, there's a saying, it's 2030. They have an agenda, but I think it's going to take a lot longer than that. But I just feel in the future to come, it will be a beautiful place. I don't think everyone has the answer to this. I just don't. I just think it's how we evolve with it, basically.
So would you say that just this just came into my mind? Do you think the new Earth it already exists? It's just a matter of
I do.
who's just who's ready and who's not.
I totally believe that.
It's so because a lot of people these days are portraying the new Earth as if the new Earth is coming and all this other stuff is going to happen, the med beds, all that, these things. Based off of what you said, it sounds like all of this already exists. It's just
there's just different timelines,
but it's just subjective. People,
yeah.
But a lot of Earthers, such as Ismail Perez and a lot of other people who are preaching about this, are basically saying,
well,
it's coming.
If you haven't listened to him,
and they're making it objective instead of subjective, but it's more subjective, right?
Do you know, when you listen to him, I don't know. I've only watched some of his things,
and some of him, and just like, I don't know, his demeanor and the way, not just the way he speaks, but the topics that he does, and also some points in the way he speaks. If you ask him a specific question and you ask him to elaborate, like what you've elaborated on the new Earth and how all these things, there's a bit of a hesitancy behind it, and so what you said was phenomenal. There was no hesitancy. It's like you
to me, you have that knowing. As you know, there's some beautiful souls that actually speak about this, that are right on the mark, and you can see that they're actually coming from their heart. When there's people on platforms that are very, I am this and I am that, I go, really? I don't know. I question it, right? And I can do that with my cards and get answers for it as well, because cards don't lie, basically, right? But a lot of people believe people like that, so they are going outside of themselves again to believe this person is such and such. Look, I work with star beings a lot, okay? And I've never claimed to be something that I'm not. And I know in my visions that I have been on a spaceship, because I work a lot with the Palladians, and I believe that I'm from that star system, right? But it doesn't give me the right to say that I'm such and such and such. I said, no, I'm on a mission for my own growth and to help humanity grow. But I do know that when I had this vision once, and I was with a close friend of mine because we were away, we were on there trying to get a crystal back. So the Palladian has this beautiful energy crystal, and they only just released it a few years ago, that can send the energy to us humans, right? And I actually drew it. And then we had to reclaim that crystal. So there are missions out there that you do in a more meditative state, and you go and retrieve it. But you know, it's just something that you do. And I remember having another vision is we got the crystal back because it belongs to the Palladium planets, because it's an energy grid. Then I remember once, this was really quite a few years back. I had a vision. I was dressed all in white. I had really long blonde hair, and I was entering a cave, and I was dressed in white, and there were all these children in this cave, and we were teaching them to raise their vibration. So, but it was a hidden cave, so we had to be always careful that it was never found. I never we just taught frequencies there. So to me is having visions like that is you remember them and they go, oh, wow, that's really lovely that these children's actually learning this. And they were hidden from humanity, basically, so they couldn't be touched, because they're trying to keep them heal these children, you know. I didn't ask where they were from. It's just I did that at that time. It's the same when I was sitting outside one day, Archangel Michael, like this beautiful being, came when I was in a meditative state and then brought me these souls. And he said, you're going to help people heal in their heart and take their self-empowerment back. And I go, okay. And that's what I do. But I don't, if people want to heal, they come to you. If they don't, they don't. But I don't believe a lot of things that are out there, that certain people are this and that. And do you know, the saddest part is he actually defamed a lot of people, and he defamed someone here that they're compromised here in Australia, Blossom Goodchild. And she's such a beautiful soul and brings I am the light, I am, you know, and she's been channeling for a long time, like, because she's a little bit older than me, but these are people he's defaming, and he doesn't even know these people. How can you defame? And he defamed Ilana as well. I watch her show sometimes, and there's some really good information out, because she actually went to places and did things, and these people study and they do their work really deeply, and it's all about the healing of the heart. And when people talk about the inner self and the healing of the heart, you know they come from truth. When people are trying to be something that all of a sudden appear, that who gave him that job for the first place? Who's he actually talking to? Who's he actually channeling? This is what I wonder sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I actually do.
To me, it's more, I always feel it's very egotistical, but that's just my point of view. And because I watched you talk about it, I just don't agree with with people like that. I just don't.
What's and this is a recurring IP, right, Perez? What you were addressing, or people like him?
Well, I don't follow him. I'm not into his energy anyway. And
okay. Well, because yeah, not to cut you off, because my my bestie, I guess she supposedly took his class, and it was top dollar, but it was all like basic 101 stuff that you can get for like $5-10, if you maybe 15 max at your local bookstore. It was basic 101 stuff. She already knew this, and he's charging top dollar for his classes of how to certain things. What I don't like about how a lot of these people is that they think that they have all the answers when they just learned the basics. It's like if you, it kind of reminds me, they think that if you know like first grade math, then you know trigonometry.
Yeah.
That's then and I'm like saying, no, that's not how it works, man. You know the basics, congratulations, but you don't know the nuances. And what I always want to hear uh is is um is not just what your generic thing, but if you claim to be this thing, I don't want to hear that that you're from wherever. It's what are you doing about this?
Yeah.
What if you say that you're from this and you have all this wisdom, why aren't you sharing it? Why are you just branding yourself as this?
I agree with you there.
Yeah, yeah, just if you want to brand yourself, have that as your talking point, as like your title and your cover, but you need to back that you need to back that crap up, dude.
Oh,
And
I
that goes
totally
for
believe that.
everybody.
Yeah.
My first beef with and this was on a different channel that I had have, believe it or not. And the first time I ever did something like this was actually calling out Marianne Williamson. I called her out, and she actually blocked me on social media when I called her out on her hypocrisy. And a lot of these people, they do want to. One thing that I really hated from her is that she had a campaign slogan which was "Turn love into a political force," and I'm like saying, "Wait, what? Why
Yeah.
would you want to put that?" Yeah, because I mean, like, love and politics do not go hand in hand. So you're basically saying because because policies and politics are very, very, very divisive, and you want to say that you want to turn something unifying into something that's divisive. I'm sorry, you're not for real. You're just and that's and so I've learned and studied the ways of how these people, how Perez and how people like Marianne Williamson and even Gila, they all put on a specific kind of voice, and they and some but the thing is that when you put their feet to the fire, they either dodge, they deflect, or they say that they don't know. And I really don't like people's how their tones do not match their words. If you come to me with confidence, but you're confidently ignorant, then I don't trust you.
Do you know, it's because the earth is so ego based as well. And people, you know, to me, is if you want to help someone from the heart, you help them from the heart. Um, you know, our whole groups here on a Monday night, I just teach them with, like, you know, and I've helped so many people just step back into their power. To me, helping someone is teaching them not to be a victim and help them step back in their power. You know, it doesn't make me better than them or less. I stand in my power. So I always look at people like, and I totally agree with it, because there's so many platforms out there, and they're driven like that they know everything. No one knows everything. I don't know everything. What I learn is what I know. I'll share it. Doesn't mean I'm always right. I could be wrong. It's just how I view it. And this is what we need to understand. But I stop following a lot of people because I go, that's not right. Um, and and then the truth, a community always fights with one another. And, you know, I when I watched, because I actually really like Jason's show, because I think he's a lovely person, and I can see in his eyes how hurt he is. You know, you can see it sometimes. You know how
I
sad
believe,
his eyes look.
and I think he actually reached out to me in the comment section, in the video. in that video. When you so I mean, now I can tell that he's authentic, but I
Yeah.
didn't really trust him initially. But I guess that was just for him to save face and not and to have Kristen
Yeah.
stick with him because he just didn't know what the backup plan was. But then as soon as he found a backup plan, he was just like saying, "You later."
Do you know, he's stepping slowly into his own power, and that's so, and he loves working with children and stuff like that, and he'll find his own way. He'll, he's going through a lot of healing pain issues, but it is a journey as well. Is no matter how much something that's going to come back up, that's going to hit us in that, and we need to heal it. And this is just the lessons is that, see, I think when certain people come, even on platforms, it's teaching us to stand in our power, that not everything that's on there is actually the truth. And I think there's quite a few people that use platforms just to rake in stuff. See, on my platform, I only got a very small one. So to me, is you either watch it or you don't. But if you want to do self-empowerment, but I do a lot of research, like when I go back into some of mine, because I was talked about Gasara and Asara, how people always talk about this Gasara, and I said, no, there's no Gasara and Asara. Someone created it, and I'll talk about who did it and why it was created.
There is no Gesara. There is none.
No, I don't believe, not like they talk about it. Right, Gasara and Asara was created, I think, in the 90s, or was this before then? And it was created to make a better system, and then they got corrupted. That's what it was. So there was a big fallout with it. So if you actually research it, it's quite interesting. It's the same when I did it. Have you ever heard of there's a mountain, was it Suspicious Mountain, I think it's called, all right? I did a remote viewing in it, and it's most interesting. So there's gold buried there somewhere, so they're searching for the gold. There was talking about this Dutchman finding all this gold, right? But they reckon they have shadow beings riding, and I believe there's a lot of native Indians still riding that land in spirit to protect the land, right? And there's shadow beings coming out because a lot of people talk about it, and I think it's a deep dive in it. So the gold is actually there. Whether it's going to get found, it will only get found by the right people for the right thing. So it's been protected, right? Because when the ascension comes, things like that will come forward, you see. But I tuned into it, and the land is, like they call it, is haunted, or whatever you call it. It's not. I don't call it a haunting. I just call it a very spiritual place that's been protected by being ancient beings, so people don't abuse that part of the land anymore, because it needs to change its vibrations. And we have Uluru like that here as well. You're not allowed to walk on it anymore. It is such a beautiful Asian land, but it's also got big vortexes of where spacecraft is. But we do have a American base near there that time warps the energy near Alice Springs. My friend went over there. She came back a bit nutty when she lived over there. She reckoned because it was time warping all the time, and she was explaining, and she's a very spiritual person. So they are playing with time warping and time opening vortexes and stuff like that, wormholes, whatever you want to call them, they're everywhere. Ancient stargates, they're all over the earth, and if you know how to work with that frequency and energy, people can go through in and out. And I believe a lot of starships come through stargates like that everywhere. But we have a really big sacred place here in Australia at Uluru, and it's known for the starships that come in and out. But it's a beautiful sacred place. See, years ago, people used to walk on it and do stupid things. So now it's banned. You can't walk on it anymore. And I find that beautiful. I went to this other place here in Australia. It's called the Hanging Rock. And it's a really eerie place. Like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful side. And many years ago, these girls went disappeared in school aged, right? And they never found the bodies or anything. But when you actually go to the place, it is so eerie. Like when you're walking and looking down into this and how it's built. Is so we have a lot of places like that here in Australia, and you know, we're so connected to the other worlds as it is. Is this we in our frequency we can't see it because this is really high frequency. So the higher your frequency is, the more open you become to see. And I feel there's a lot of places like that. And when people talk about they're from this and this, you know, is I feel that I have Palladian energy. I feel that. Can I prove it? No, you can't, because it's just annoying that you have, right? But you can't go around saying you're this and you're that and you're an ambassador of this. You know, how do you know? You know, where's the energy that you can actually show us? It's because everything is energy.
It's not just that. One of the things I think I forgot to put it in the description. Maybe I did already, but when you're talking, I know who you're referring to.
Yeah.
And when he was being asked those questions by Karen Cassidy, oh my God, he had no response. He just deflected. Did you watch that interview?
No, I actually didn't. I
Oh
don't.
my God.
Yeah, I actually might go back and watch it just out of interest.
It is delicious. It's
Yes.
delicious.
Wow.
And there are a lot of people who in the chat that said, "Oh, she's being rude." It's like, no, she's not being rude and interrupting him. Well, she's interrupting him because she asks about certain things and then he talks about something entirely different, or she asks him, "Hey, can you elaborate? You said something about this. Can you elaborate on it?" And then he doesn't elaborate on it.
Yeah.
So and this is when he was just taking off, and it just no, I mean, a lot of people still praise him for and thought that she was in the wrong, but it's like, no, he just got embarrassed. This guy knows the basics, but you try to get him into like what you're saying, because what you said was very, very elaborate. It was very specific, and I'm very sure he would either like put that aside as if like you don't know what you're talking about, or he just might plagiarize you, because that's what I see a lot of truthers do. They get people to explain their story and share their knowledge, and then they plagiarize their previous guests who they got the information from and said, "Oh, no, this is my realization." I've seen him do that. I've seen him do that to a lot of people, and I'm like saying, no, you know what, man, I'm not. That's why I don't trust anyone like that. There are a lot of people in the truther community who do speak a lot of truth, and so do you. You're very, very knowledgeable. You're very, very very, very wise and know what's going on. I'm surprised you're. No, you deserve to be a lot bigger than your channel shows. You're fantastic. And
I always try to be really humble, like, and I always feel whoever comes your way, like, for some reason, I watched you and I go, wow, I really resonate with that comment because I was really touched by it. And that's why I actually go, yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one. And your channel, I've never seen your channel, and it just popped up out of the sun. And then this is how it happens, and channels pop up. And I go, wow, that's pretty cool. I've never really worried about how big my channel goes or it doesn't. I haven't really worried about it. I'll just put out what I know, and I hope someone might listen to it and learn something from it. And my biggest wish is that everyone steps back into their own power, basically, and comes back into their heart space.
But here's the thing: they like being. Here's the thing, though, and this is exactly why the DS and the Matrix absolutely work, because the thing is that there are a lot of people who love the aftermath of all of this, but again, it's like working out. You honestly think that you're going to be fit and all this stuff, and you're going to be healthy and a lot more refreshed if you don't start doing some soul searching, or you start working on yourself. It's hard work. It's a lot of hard work. And not a lot of, and people are saying, no, this is too much. I'd rather listen to people who tell me what makes me, what I'm content with. Like, oh, no. You don't need to have your voice. I am your voice. I know what you need. And all you need to do, I'll just tell you with the sunshine and flowers and rainbows. You're just perfect the way you are, this, that, or the other. That is the kind of stuff that that's what makes these people popular, because they don't want to hear that they need to work on themselves. What's funny is that they ask, how do I ascend? Well, you got to work on yourself. You got to suffer through things. You got to, oh no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, exactly.
It's true though.
No, they're lazy.
Yeah, it is laziness. And I actually, I get booked out with readings a lot. So, but when I do readings, because I'm really blunt and honest, and then I'll tell them that they need to work on themselves and how to do it. And sometimes it takes them a couple of years to actually realize, to step into that and do it. But you see their growth. And I think that's the most beautiful thing you can see in someone, is when they grow and actually start healing journey.
You got cut off there.
But it is a beautiful journey, and I don't know. From everyone, you learn something, I believe, where not to go and where to go and how to heal. Do you know, I needed a lot of healing years ago, and I'm still working on myself every day. But I was a victim once, and then realised that I didn't want to stay there, and then I had to grow. But because I've been reading for a long time, you don't, it is about growth and understanding who you are, and being kind to yourself, and understanding that you are a beautiful being doing an experience. And the more you learn in this experience, the more you heal and stuff like that. And then if you can share it with someone to heal, I think that's the most beautiful thing. And that's what I do. I share a lot of things. And when I see someone, just going into their power and doing things, and it's like flowing with life. I always say, flow with life and life will flow with you. Don't fight it. If you're going to put it in the back burner all the time, you're not flowing with it. You need to heal that part of you. So, and everyone has stories. There's no person that I haven't met that, that has a story to tell. Everyone has a beautiful story of how they got to where they are, and then realize that they need to take their own power back to heal it. But there's a lot of people that don't want to heal it because they use it to their advantage to get what they want. And they don't care who they hurt in the meanwhile, especially when they become narcissists, Like,
Well, narcissism is if you look at this, it's like it's very it has a very vindictive energy. You did this to me, I'm gonna snap back at you and do what
yeah,
you did to me. You and some and there are times when and I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna deny that even the most innocent people, if they've had like psychological abuse or they've been bullied, that they too scapegoat something else. I'm guilty of that. Um, but and I know others that have been guilty of that as well. But the thing is that we know that in the end we know that that's wrong. We always try to try to recycle the energies as opposed to you owe me something.
yeah,
No, I mean, like, it's like with every people need there are a lot of people that need to understand that when you are harmed, that's not to destroy you. That's actually to teach you.
yep.
Yeah, a lot of people learn a lot through pain and suffering.
Oh, they do.
But and but again, not a lot of people want to go through that damage. But it's like, well, you might not know what you need to know if that's the case. You have to go through it. It's not fun. Yeah, I mean, sometime and like you said, like the light and the dark. Sometimes the light is way too bright for people, and they can't see. They can't see, and so sometimes if they, so sometimes they stay in the dark because no one can see them, and it's just like they can just
Yeah.
like get stuck into their comfort zone where they feel
I always believe, yeah, and I believe when you see that is because if you're too much in the light, it's too much. If you're too much in the dark, because it's unbalanced, you have to bring always your balance back in because you're both. You're the shadow and you're the light. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's how humanity is, but having that balance is beautiful and seeing both sides of it because we have shit days and we have good days. Like
Absolutely.
sometimes, even the lightest person can go back down is, when you channel a lot or remote view or whatever you want to call it, do mediumship is because you're going into in a different dimension. And, and when you in that dimension, you have a different energy, and coming down from the energy can be sometimes very I've got to come back down here into this 3D dimension. Like it does affect you. Like and that's why sometimes a lot of people stay higher up in it, but then they're not doing the earthwork either. So you have to always ground yourself. I actually bought grounding mats. You plug them in and you ground yourself because a lot of people are just inside all the time and they work really well, but it's just staying grounded. And as well is because sometimes when I work always on that in that, like when I do readings all day, sometimes you're always in that higher dimension because you're pulling, working with the energy of it. And then coming back down, I'll do it very slow now, not just crash, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because you must do a lot of readings and because you're just tuned into that dimension. I call them dimensions, right? Or into the energy is, and you're doing reading after reading after reading. To me, is then I come down because over here we have big places where you go, like you sit there all day and you do readings all day. You're booked out basically in like we've got body, soul, and like we, go to these places and you do readings all day. And I usually get booked out, and then all you do is, and then it's slowly you have to come back down and ground your energy back in once you've finished all the readings. You are working from another dimension, because your mind goes into this state. And it's actually been proven that because we're readers, our brain changes into this wave. I don't know if it's, how you got alpha, delta, all those different kind of waves. Our brain does it, and you can always see in someone's eyes when they're in that they have different eyes. They're very more really focused and shiny. I learned that through a friend of mine. He's very he travels around, does readings all the time. His wife always says to me, "Oh, you've got eyes like my husband there. They're just focused into the thing, like reading it, that you can see spirit." I've never noticed it, but coming from someone that doesn't read, I go, "Oh, that's interesting to know." So we do tune into that different, where we can still everything and just view. And I think it's really amazing. And do you know, one gift that I'm really grateful for that I have is I can actually see people, if they're channeling or not. I can see the energy that's standing behind them, that they're channeling, or in their crown chakra, if there's energy going through. I don't know. I don't know if you can ever see that, but if you ever watch someone, just keep it when they're channeling, you can actually see that there's a beautiful energy. And I learned that from years and years ago. I was at my friend, she used to teach classes. I used to do meditations there for her. And I used to see when she was standing behind a wall, and all of a sudden this beautiful energy was just behind her. That was her guide. It was huge. And ever since then, I always focus on that when someone's channeling and when they're not. So their channel can break and then it comes back. So sometimes they're doing readings and that's what they're talking about, but their channel is not open. They're just telling you things. And then you have to watch, like you can actually learn to see that as well. So, yeah, you'll see that behind them. It's like a glow. And that's their higher self, their guides coming through. You can actually see them if you really aware of it. So that's how you know if someone's channeling or not. And I didn't see that with the other person that we're talking about. I never saw that behind, because you can see behind, if the energy flowing through their crown chakra, what's standing behind them, because it is all energy. When you learn to see the energies of everything, it's quite beautiful. Sometimes when you see it on animals as well, it's really lovely.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah, like when I look at you, like you have this beautiful white all around you, right? While you're sitting there in quietness, so you have then you talk fluently, everything flows, because then you're in your flow of your higher self and your guides and what you're meant to speak about, and you have that around you already. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's quite lovely actually, and it changes colour. Sometimes it's a bit purple, sometimes it's a bit green, but it's just beautiful all around your head here. You can see it.
Thank you very much. I'm flattered, but
yeah.
Yeah. These are there any other topics that you want to cover? We've been doing this for like a good hour and a half, which is
wow. Is it that long already?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, if you want to cover other certain topics, like on current events or something like that, we absolutely
amazing.
Could.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we should actually. I really enjoyed this. we'll pick a topic and then we can talk about it again because it has been quite a while.
There are some things that were brought to my attention a couple, like 1 or 2 nights ago, that I want to revisit. It's so I'll tell you about it. And now, since it's not just going to be a free for all, and there's going to be some structure, now I'm going to be able to put on a title that has more of a what we're
Yep.
going to be addressing.
All right. Cool.
So that's phenomenal. Everybody, if you watch this, please subscribe to Carola. I'll leave the link in the description for her channel. She's absolutely amazing. Has a lot of knowledge of what's going on, and we'll see you Monday.
Okay.
Okay, sounds great. Same time.
All right.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
You have a lovely day.
Thank you.
And enjoy. And thank you for everyone. And much blessings to everyone. And thank you for the lovely talk.
My pleasure.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.